Hey YouTube, it's DenverPrepper, coming at you with another video. I do apologize about the length of time between videos. I had not anticipated near that amount of time. For those of you that do know, my wife passed away in late December. She got ill around late in June. It started progressing into August. She entered the hospital September 23rd and was out for a total of about 4 days. Before she finally passed away from her illness. So pray for us. It's a very difficult time. I'm now a widower. I never thought I'd have that title, but it is what it is. So pray for us. Keep us in your prayers and your thoughts. And so here we go. Because I'm now prepping for only 3 rather than 4, I still have to make sure that the kids can carry their own loads. I've also got to make sure that we have ample protection. Getting into the gun segment of our episode today, I recently got my concealed carry, and this is my everyday carry. Let me take the mag out and do a safety check for you. There is no round in the chamber, but it's always best to make sure. This is an American Tactical 45 caliber pistol. It's American Tactical manufacturing. Hope you can see that. This was $400, brand spanking new out of the box. This pistol is amazingly accurate and cheap. And rugged. I've dropped it, and it's just a nice pistol. $400. I have a friend who's a competitive shooter, owns a couple of Kimbers, very nice Kimber custom shot pistols. This shot just as well as his Kimbers did. That being said, I've also came into possession of a full size. Now this is a Rock Island Armory, full size 45 caliber pistol. This has the full 5-inch barrel on it, as well as the Bomar sight and this is a match grade barrel. And again, no rounds in the chamber. This pistol outshot my friend's Kimber. We placed targets out at 7 yards, and I can't shoot as well as he can, so he shot both pistols. This outshot his Kimber, and he was quite upset about it, especially since his Kimber was about $2,600, and this $430, not including the Bomar sight. The Bomar sight was another $80, and the match grade barrel was another $100. So about $600 out. $600 versus $2,600. It's a decent difference. I've also heard a lot of people say that. Oh, by the way, this was purchased at our friends down at Rapid Fire Bunker. They do sell handguns. They do sell personal protection weapons. In fact, I'll show you another one I picked up there in just a second. Love this pistol. To me, this is my favorite pistol. Now, I've not gotten rid of my 9mm yet. I'm thinking about it, but I've not done it quite yet. But this is a marvelous pistol. I really like it. People have been talking to me about personal protection in the home. I figured my AK, I think we've all seen that one in previous videos, would have done it. Not so. And so this I picked up also at Rapid Fire Bunker. This is a Mossberg 500 12-gauge shotgun with the quick detach stock system. So I can put the pistol grip or I can put the stock on. And since this is a Mossberg 500, I have my assortment of barrels and chokes that Mossberg would normally have anyway. This is 12 gauge. This out the door was for, I think, $500 and about $75 because I bought some other stuff as well. And so this particular gun, I don't have much experience with shotguns, and I don't have much experience with any type of weapon like this. So I'll have to take it out, shoot it, and see it. But I can tell you, it just cycles marvelously. And there's no hiccups, there's nothing like that. Also, this does have a quick detach front end, so I can stick tactical front ends on here and have things like handles, lights, that kind of thing. Also, there are new lights that fit here as well, but I'd have to find a new place for my swivel. So, that's that. Also, I've been accused of hating the AR-15. I am not. And I'll say this again, I do not hate the AR-15. I believe it to be overpriced for what it is, but I still think it's a fantastic platform. Not quite as reliable as my AK, and I proved it, but here's what I've gone ahead and done. This is a New Frontier polymer lower on a DPMS Patrolman's upper. I've got a Burris, what is this, the AR332 scope on here, plus I've also got a detachable carry handle for the weapon itself. I prefer the carry handle, but I'm really liking the scope. In fact, let's see if I can get it lit up for you, and hopefully get it to where I'm showing you. So as you can see, it's a lit reticle, and also it becomes has a bullet drop compensator and a bunch of other stuff on it as well. So I paid about $300 for the scope, and I went and shot it today. Forgot tools to actually get it, on there. So that was a little frustrating. So I couldn't actually dial in the scope, but the scope is still fairly accurate. I was still measuring more or less than MOA groups at 100 yards, even with the scope. It was a little down and to the right, but that's pretty much it. I did also add a Mosin Nagant to my arsenal. I want to try hunting this year. Never been a big hunter, never been into killing animals as a wholesale practice, but I also realized that if shit hits the fan, and with the current economy and things happening in Washington with also the gun bans and everything else, there could very well be a situation later on this year that necessitates I learn how to hunt. So there it is. Now, any type of, I guess any type of gun legislation is going to be dangerous in terms of what you own and who wants to track it and so on and so forth. But you elected in America, you get to deal with it. So I didn't vote for the man, nor did I vote for any of his cabinet, nor did I vote for Feinstein or anyone else. So you voted for him, you get to deal with it. So anyway, that's that. On the prepping front, because of my wife's death and because of all that has happened, I've not had time to do much in terms of stock new food. I have invested, as I told you last time, in the dehydrated food that they had at Costco. I showed you a bucket earlier. And so I've invested in quite a few of those. Picked up more MREs, picked up more water filters, and I'm also considering a Berkey water filter. More Camelbacks, that kind of thing. So if we need to bug out of the house, we can. But also if we can bug in, we can do that as well. I think the next thing that I'd like to talk about is the prepping mindset. A lot of people, when they start looking at guns especially, they don't understand what a gun is, what it can do, how to use it, and also the concept of I forget, I think it's called violence, or basically how violent the encounter is going to be. People often underestimate the violence in which one needs to act in order to successfully engage a target and bring the target down and walk away. So a classic example of that is I was showing a young woman the .45 pistol. She completely thought that this thing would, it's a hand cannon, it's going to kick like that and throw the gun several yards behind her, throw her shoulder out of socket, things like that. Obviously, they don't. I love this thing right here has less recoil than my 9mm pistol, less. So, that being said, a lot of people don't understand. It's called violence of action. Don't understand how violent an encounter can be, and I also don't think a lot of people understand how violent a shit hits the fan, or even just a straight prepping encounter can be. Now we've all seen the zombie movies. I think we're all zombied out, but I think what they've done for us is they showed us the human condition when we reach critical mass, when we don't have food for our families, when my son is starving literally in front of my eyes. That's going to drive people to do some pretty insane things. Murders, obviously not within the least of those, or the greatest of those. So you have to be ready to defend yourself. And I don't say that lightly, because this could be taken as an incitement to war or revolution or something like that, and that's not what I'm saying. As a Christian, I do follow the laws of the land. It tells straight the word. Follow the laws of the land. For your representatives were put there by God himself. Still questioning Obama, but he's God, I'm not. So he has his own things. He has his own ideas, I don't. So I defer to him on those. That being said, I think that you have to take a certain stand when it comes to your own protection. Cops just aren't there anymore. I love my friends in blue. I will do anything I can for them, but they're just not there for you anymore. Due to budget constraints, due to the increasing crime rate. Whoever wants to tell you crime is decreasing, maybe a certain type of crime is, but crime on a whole is increasing. We all know it. Let's not play the stupid numbers game. We all know crime's increasing. So that being said, I think it's time, and I think it's high time, everyone take a real stock of where they sit in terms of doing damage to another human being. Can you drop the hammer on another human being? That's a question that only you ask. Nothing Fancy in one of his videos asks basically the same question. Have you considered, you carry a handgun now, have you considered the implications of that? Have you considered what it's going to look like when you have to drop the hammer on someone? When someone's just not complying and all of a sudden you have to pull that trigger? And I did. I thought about that long and hard before I went and applied for my concealed carry. But I think those of us who are prepping understand that there's a certain mentality we have. We have to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It's protection of the innocents. And you don't have to be a Christian to have that same attitude. I know many Christians who do not, who are not Christians, but share that same attitude. And so protection of the innocents is obviously our number one priority. Will I drop the hammer on somebody who's hurting my own kids? Well, of course. But will I drop the hammer on somebody who's hurting your kids? That's something I have to ask myself. Will I drop the hammer on somebody who's molesting your son or daughter, or who's trying to stab or kill your son or daughter? And I've had to think about that, and my answer obviously was yes. I have to do that. There may come a time, I just pray to God that there never comes a day, but I think there will come a day when all of us have to answer that same question for ourselves. And some of us may have a gun in our hand when we do it. We don't know. So that's something I want to talk about. It's just the mindset of not only the violence aspect, but also the prepping aspect. Things are not going to be pleasant when we have to bug in or bug out. Those are going to be oh shit situations. Do you have the mindset? Have you rehearsed your routine enough to where you're not going to panic? Have you rehearsed your routine enough to where a major life event, such as a death, does not interfere with any of those plans? My answer was a very stark no. So when my wife died, my life stopped. Some of you knew her struggles with mental illness. Some of you knew how hard she fought. But at the very, very end, when she passed away, my life stopped. Prepping stopped. Everything stopped. Videos stopped. Shooting stopped. Everything in my life stopped. And I'm now making videos again because I think it's something that she would want me to do. I think it's something that she loved others enough to where she would want me to put the word out there to start taking care of your neighbors. Because remember, she did. She was the first prepper, so to speak, in our home. When she prepared for those around us who didn't have food or didn't have money to buy food for their families. We talked about that in an earlier episode. So really, she got this whole movement kicked off in my home. And now I'm just carrying on the torch. And I hope, honey, I'm doing it well enough. That being said, are your preps enough? And are your preps, I should say, stable enough to survive something like a shit hits the fan situation? You have to answer that for yourself. You just have to. And again, my reminder was no, they're not. So I've taken to practicing. What do I pack? When do I pack it? How do I pack it? And where am I going, right? So if I'm bugging in, I know where I'm going. But if I'm bugging out, where am I going? That being said, I've recently joined up with a small group of others who are like-minded individuals, and I've become the security guy. So you have your weapons guy, you have your food guy, you have your make it thing kind of guy, your manufacturer or fabricator. I've become the weapons guy. Hence, I picked up the new purchases to help out in those cases. I'm looking at 2 more ARs, and then I think my collection will be then complete. As you can see behind me, those were some fun sessions with the 45, learning how to use it, learning how to fire the thing properly. But that's at 7 yards, so I think I was doing fairly decently. So when my wife died, again, things stopped, and I had to pick them back up. and I realized that there's a severe hole in my preps, and that is water, right? So where can I get water? Where can I get a very large source of water, whether I'm bugging in or bugging in? So picked up a water bob, picked up some sterile containers to put things into, pots, pans, that kind of thing. But there's also some liners within those. I've also picked up it's a book, and I'll show it to you next episode. I'll make that one much longer to show you everything that I've gotten. There's a book I picked up that basically shows you how to save 200 gallons of water in your house in less than 2 minutes. So that's 200 gallons in 2 minutes. And I wouldn't have believed it would be possible, except I tried it, and I got near 300 gallons. And had I gone longer than the 2 minutes, I could have gotten more. So that being said, this is just a video to let you know that I'm not gone, and that I will continue to do prepping videos, but just understand and bear with me. So I'll have this one up tonight, and then I'll have a full-length episode with all the preps and what I've gotten and what I've learned since my wife's death. I'll have that hopefully this week. So prepare, show the love of Christ to your neighbor by preparing for them as well. Later. This is DenverPrepper out.